I'm good. I know who makes it. That's what it gets me. So if I stay lower, we can make it forgiving. Well,
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you all for attending the Edinburgh Town Council meeting Monday, July 8th, 2024. We'll do a roll call. Mr. Bryant? Here. Ms. Sweet?
Here.
Ms. Buck?
Here.
Ms. Brooks is not with us tonight. Rhonda is here, clerk treasurer. Justin Huddleston, town attorney. Minutes of council meeting, June 24th, 2024.
Any questions? If there are no questions, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, claims, Rhonda?
In your package, you should have had two claims, two sets of claims. There's one for the end of the month, May, in the amount of $273,280.80. Those are pre-writes. And then there's one for tonight, July the 8th, in the amount of $851,703.95.
Any questions, council, on the claims?
Make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing, Richard Elbert petition for rezone. We've done this before, so we'll open this up for public comment. And we'll open that up now. If you do have anything to say, please state your name, your address for the record. And if there are any, we'll close the public hearing. The ordinance 2024-12 rezoning certain properties, first reading, Mr. Huddleston.
Thank you for this public hearing that was just done. This is a petition from Richard Elbert to rezone the subject property from R5 medium density residential to RB roadside business. The ordinance attached is Exhibit A, which describes the real estate. It's all along US 31. This was applied for to the Edinburgh Planning Commission and was a favorable recommendation for their resolution 2024-01 for the rezoning, subject to one condition that property owner would obtain access permit from the state of Indiana to have direct access to US 31. Right now, it's not. You have to go through and get access. So that would be a condition that the Planning Commission recommended. If you adopted this ordinance, it would also carry that condition. So tonight's the first reading. You cannot waive the first reading of this since it's a rezoning, and you have the second reading in the next meeting. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Moving along, the public hearing and additional appropriations, Ms. Barrett.
Okay, open up the floor for public hearing for additional appropriations. There's a need to have additional appropriations for money that we already have that needs to be spent for items such as the new fire trucks, the roof on the fire station, street sweeper, and ice skating rink from the park lot.
It's just like a quick comments.
That's what I thought. So now we will open up the public hearing for the additional appropriations. If there are any, again, please state your name and your address for the record. If there are none, we'll close the public hearing for additional appropriations. All right, Resolution 2024-15, additional appropriations, Ms. Barrett.
Which we just had a public hearing for, and I kind of jumped ahead of myself and covered that with explanation of what the additional appropriations are for.
Motion. Yes.
Just a motion to approve the appropriations.
No, the resolution.
The resolution.
Yeah,
Which one?
2024-15.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-15.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, the ordinance 2024-13, amending chapter 93, garbage and trash, in first reading, Mr. Huddleston.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you recall, Mr. Overton had proposed some modifications to existing garbage and trash ordinance. I've captured those in the ordinance, sent it to Julie for review. So this is a consideration for you. It just tweaks and modifies and I would call updates the ordinance to reflect some current conditions. Julie, was there any comments? Do we need to hold this or?
If council would, I will have a couple of additional modifications, so I
We'll
will
wait for the
be
next.
sending those forward.
Okay,
Okay, and I'll reflect that at the next meeting with those modifications. So this could be the first reading.
thank you. All right, the resolution 2024-16, the NITEC tax abatement.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The last council meeting, you approved the real property tax abatement for DITEC, and this is the resolution and the agreement that follows that approval. Legal counsel has prepared those for your approval. Be happy to answer any questions.
So this will need two motions, one for approval and one for my signature, is that correct?
That's correct.
Catch any questions with that? You good now?
I don't have to see.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2024-16.
Second.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, then you want me to sign, please.
I make a motion that Ryan gets to sign 2024-16.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, Dillingham Investments LLC, memorandum of agreement, Julie.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was a separate item, so that agreement is part of this approval and also would require a motion for
Okay,
council president to sign.
so since that's being memorandum, there's really no approval of that, is there?
Yes, you have
Yes.
to approve and then authorize council president to sign.
There it is. Went well the first time, let's try it a second time.
I make a motion that we approve the memorandum of agreement with Dillingham Investments.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
One is signature.
Any other motions?
Okay, I make a motion that we approve Ryan to sign the memorandum of agreement for Dillingham Investments.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
All right, Bob, the State Road 252 sewer lining bid award.
We had 5 bids for the project. They came in under estimated expense. So it was a pretty good saving, and it was good news for us. And after reviewing the bid, of course, it's up to board members to make this decision, but I agree that we should go with Insight Contracting at a bid of $366,714. So, do you have any questions?
No, I think there's, especially since the Miller pipeline was incomplete in their application, which is reasonable to support the fact that we don't need to go with Miller pipeline.
Yep.
Yeah, they work as well. Okay,
There were some minor
okay,
issues with a few of them, so.
just to address this also. So Inside Pipe Contracting justifies jumping to that. So,
So if you award the bid to them, it'd be subject to the construction agreement being drafted.
so it would be that legal counsel's approval, so.
Anybody have any questions? Motion to approve, Insight for the, State Road 252 sewer line bid award, subject to
Just drafting of the construction agreement.
Veston's drafting of the construction agreement.
Second. Yeah, there we go. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, Rhonda Westler invoice 44499 for the water treatment plant.
All right, yes. It's an invoice from Westler. This is on the wastewater treatment improvements in the amount of $4,836.25 for your approval. I believe Bill has looked at the invoice and just needs your approval for payment.
Any questions? So I think we're getting to the end of that, aren't we, Bill?
Yeah.
Close. Super close.
Super close, which just means really
4
close.
years we're close.
I don't have any questions.
I make a motion that we approve Western invoice 44499 for the water treatment plant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we need approval for Ryan to sign. Sorry, I forgot that.
I make a motion to approve Ryan to sign the Western invoice 44499.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Julie, looks like you're already into that. The Columbus EDC contract renewal, please.
Yes, sir. Tonight we have representatives from the Columbus EDC here to discuss that renewal. This is an annual renewal, and over to Jason Hester for that.
And I do have handouts if you like. I've got one printed for everybody. I can.
Yes.
Good evening, council. Again, I'm Jason Hester, President of Greater Columbus Economic Development Corporation. The handout's actually just a short introduction to Greater Columbus EDC, who we are, what we do. The specific item of business is on our fee-for-service agreement, as Julie mentioned. But since this is my first opportunity to actually officially present to the council, just wanted to tell you a little bit about Greater Columbus EDC and happy to answer any questions you may have. So I won't go through this item by item. You have it there in front of you, but on page 2, you'll see at the top right, we're a member-supported nonprofit organization. We are supported through a mix of public and private funding, and we're very proud that 60% of our funding comes from private sector and only 40% then from local government. That split, you'll see $110,000 annual agreement from Bartholomew County. City of Columbus matches that level, and then the town of Edinburgh agreement is $7,500. And so represent just over 1% of our budget. But we really appreciate it. It's an important part of our funding, and it's important to us to know that we have the town's support as we deliver economic development services for the community. Our approach is really threefold. It's business attraction,
It's business retention and expansion is the second objective, and the third then is development and other support guidance. And that's what the agreement spells out, that we deliver professional economic development services really for those three things: business recruitment, business expansion, and then providing guidance however we may support the community. So on objective 1 on next page 3, you'll see business attraction efforts. This is where we're marketing the town of Edinburgh and Bartholomew County and Columbus. So we are, again, I say we're a countywide organization. I should back up. We were formed in 1976. We were one of the first dedicated local economic development organizations in the state of Indiana. And at the time, back in 76, we were known as the Columbus Economic Development Board. It sounded like we were a division of government for only Columbus. And over the years, our mission expanded to include be county-wide. As we worked more and more on Edinburgh-served sites, industrial properties to the south of the town, then we truly became greater than just Bartholomew County as well. So in 2016, we reincorporated as Greater Columbus Economic Development Corporation, and again, to help represent that we are beyond just one given location. So, but with that, so as we go out, we recruit businesses. We do this through a variety of means. So we go to trade shows, both domestically and internationally. Recently returned from the Hannover Messe in Germany, the world's largest industrial trade show, where we were meeting with companies thinking about choosing a new location in the U.S. We do a lot of outreach with site selectors or site consultants. These are companies who advise companies on where to locate. So we do a lot of work there. We do a little bit of advertising and promotion, and one of the ways we do that is through our website, columbusin.org. And you can learn more about us there. And then we submit proposals to prospects. So we work closely with the state of Indiana. If the state of Indiana gets a lead that is looking anywhere in the state, or maybe they're looking, must be within 1 hour of an airport, must be within a mile of an interstate, etc., they will push that lead out to the other local economic development organizations around the state. And so when we get those leads, we look at those, review them, identify, do we have a fit that might fit for the town of Edinburgh or Bartholomew County and or Columbus. And if we have 3 fits, we will submit all 3. So we want to get more chances, more swings at the plate, so to speak. So we will submit proposals and host prospects then. So numbers listed there, 35 proposals last year, 16 so far this year to date at midway point. Some project site visits just listed there by a letter or possibly a code name, but those are some of the site visits that we've been welcomed to the area to evaluate sites. Objective 2 on page 4, that's expansion support. The majority of all new investment in jobs will come from existing businesses. So where a brand new company coming to the area will certainly be worthy of a headline. The majority of all new investment and jobs come from existing businesses. And so we're pleased also to be here with a friend from MA Metal that you'll hear from later. But we do what we can to support those expansions. And one of the ways we do that is through information. So Executive Survey is a program that we do. We actually provided to all council members a copy. Hopefully you received that in the mail. We sent you earlier this year a copy of the 2023 report, where we spend an hour with executives throughout the county, and we ask them what's important to them. What's going well, what do they wish was improved, and how can we be the best place for them to do business. And so with that, then we strip out anything that would reveal who said what, and we create an anonymous report that we then shared gladly with our local elected officials. And so we also do a wage and benefit survey that we encourage Edinburgh employers to participate in. And then we also then support expansion. So specifically, if they're out of room, they need another, they need more ground to build, or they need an expansion of their existing facility. And then sometimes state and local incentives support is something that is requested. And when I talk about the businesses we support, the other, I should point out, with our limited resources, we're focused on primary or base businesses. And so what do I mean by that? If the business, their goods or services are sold outside of the local marketplace, that means they could locate anywhere. So, if you're the corner CVS, you locate at a given location because you're serving that neighborhood or that community market. If you're a CVS distribution center, for example, well, that could locate just about anywhere, within a multi-state region. Manufacturing, by default, is primary or base because they produce components that could be sold anywhere in the world. And so we're competing for those investments because, again, we want those investments to happen here. And so that's where we focus. So sometimes someone will say, oh, Jason, you're in economic development. Could you get us an Olive Garden? And my answer to that is, well, not directly, but indirectly. If we keep growing the base long enough, well enough, high enough, we just keep growing that base, then all those jobs support other jobs. And eventually, that fill in the blank, your favorite missing restaurant, will eventually say, well, why aren't we in Edinburgh? Look at all those people with disposable income in their pockets. So we focus on the base or primary employers, and as we grow the base, we know that will spill over to all other opportunities. Then objective 3 under improve on page 5, just a couple things. We're very pleased. I'm honored to be a part of the Bartholomew County Steering Committee for the State of Indiana READY program. So you're familiar, I trust, with the READY program. We, through READY 1, we were able to direct $750,000 to the town for the construction of Main Street, for the extension of Main Street. So we were very grateful to be a voice for the town as part of the South Central Indiana Talent Region READY project. We've also notionally have approved by the steering committee $60,000 through the READY 2 program. READY 2 announced just not too long ago. So we have $60,000 identified for a new town plaza, should the town pursue that opportunity. So we do have a little bit, sorry, it's nowhere close to what READY 1 was, but it's still, we're happy to see some dollars flow this way. So that would be an example under improve, and then otherwise just being a resource to town staff. Regardless of the conversation, we're just happy to be a resource. Supported results, so the town, we made it official. We had been unofficial for a number of years as we worked on projects within your service territory. But we made it official mid-year 2021, so just right at 3 years ago, through the first fee-for-service agreement with the town. So 3 years in, what can we point to as supported results? We're very pleased to point out $151 million in announced capital investments. Now those, and it's very fresh data because that includes DITEX project just announced, and then also another one coming up that you'll soon hear from. Others then are primarily then in the served territory, so Edinburgh Utilities service territory. Examples include George Utes, who's had 3 expansions just in the last 3 years. Drug Plastics closures, Drug Plastics, SUNY America, and then also R&L Carriers, their new operation. I'll mention, we did not specifically pursue distribution centers, but if they approach us and say they're looking, well then, we're not going to turn them away. We're happy to talk to them about that. So R&L Carriers, that project announced within the last 3 years. Of course, before them, their neighbor, Old Dominion Freight, also. And then Century Biopharma Services. That was the shell building that Force Holdings had built on 800, and now Century Biopharma is in there. And exciting company, doing some pretty cool things there. So those are some of the primary projects. Again, total $151 million in announcements. Pledge creation of 262 new jobs at very high wages, $24.82 an hour, so well above the county average, and then retention of 433 jobs. And again, that's not us doing that. Again, I'm always quick to say it's the employers that create the jobs, it's the employers that make those investments. We're just happy to be supportive and offer whatever assistance we can. And then I already mentioned the READY funding, and that's it. You have half of the staff here with you today. So I've joined Kristen Gerker, my colleague. She's our director of projects and marketing, myself, and we have 2 other staff members that work on the team. So you have our contact information on that last page. and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jason? Thank you for coming and explaining.
Sure.
That's what you guys did.
Thank you. So the request on the contract is for $7,500 annual fee. That is for this calendar year. And then we would bill, invoice after services are delivered. So we do an invoice at the end of the year. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It's good thing you're here.
Yes. Okay. Make a motion to approve the Columbus EDC contract.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Do you want to authorize Ryan to sign that contract?
Motion for President
Ryan.
Ryan Hirschfeld to sign the contract, the EDC contract.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Julie, Jacoby, is it Toombs and Lands Professional Services Agreement?
Yes, sir. So this is a contract for professional services. This would be an on-call contract for plan review and building inspections. We may call them, we may not call them before the end of the year, but this is essentially a backup or an emergency contract for the building department. This is something that I have typically had in other locations where I have worked in cases. And like I said, we may utilize this, we may not, but it is kind of something that I prefer to have just as a just in case. And it does have a not to exceed clause in it.
Okay.
So it's as needed basis, correct?
And it would be an as needed basis.
Any questions for Julie on that organization?
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the professional services agreement with Jacoby Toombs and Lands.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need to sign that one as well, don't
And once Dustin finishes preparing, yes.
I? Fantastic.
We make a motion that Ryan signs that agreement with Jacoby Toombs and Lands.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Julie, the Crossroads Engineer Professional Services Agreement.
And this is also another on-call professional services agreement. This is for inspection services. This is a different type of inspection services. This is for utilities and erosion control measures, specifically out at Timbergate where they are putting in the infrastructure. This one is for a maximum of 20 hours a week. And it does have a not to exceed for a weekly amount. And we would determine whether or not we needed them for those 20 hours a week. In speaking with the supervisor, I spoke with Clark on the streets. They passed the proof roll today. So, yeah, we looking at potentially finishing up this section. He said it would be a maximum likely of about 60 days.
So this was discussed in the previous meeting to have somebody else put oversight so that we didn't have problems 10 years down the line with infrastructure not being installed correctly that we may or may not have missed.
Right.
So it gave us another set of eyes and somebody else to take a little bit of the burden off of the town on this. So this was discussed in our meeting with the superintendents. We talked about this. We wanted to hold these developers accountable. We didn't want them because our development fees and violations are a little behind times. So this was a way to get somebody in there to hold these developers accountable. So much needed, very much so needed. So I would highly encourage this.
Motion to approve Crossroads Engineers Professional Services Agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion for you to sign.
Do I need to sign that one well, I think?
Yes, sir.
We're getting good at this.
Motion for President Ryan Crisfield to sign the Crossroads Engineers Professional Services Agreement.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Julie.
Thank you, sir.
All right, the Crossroads Engineer fee for State Road 252 water main installation, Mr. Jones.
Well, this has been ongoing with 252 project since 2018. A couple weeks ago, we had Bill Reed here with the state to get authorized for the $200,000 for the 10% of the $3 million job to do it for us. With this agreement, it's required, and the state requires us to have this agreement with Crossroads. They went back and forth and came up with the cost, but it is, will be deducted from that 200,000 that we have to pay. So the more they spend, the less we have to give them out. So this is just an agreement that we need to get approved. When I sent it to Dustin, he's approved it. So we just need to get it approved for you guys, and then we need to approve it to have Ryan or Debbie or somebody sign it.
Questions for Bill, guys?
Is this the same company that is going to?
It's the same company as Crossroad, but it's through the state. It'll be whatever that we do, we'll pay Crossroads and then we'll bill the state for it. The state will pay us back anything for this particular contract. It's just
And Dustin has reviewed, it's acceptable.
Motion to approve the Crossroad Engineers fee proposal for State Road 252 water main installation per Bill Jones.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion for Ryan Crisfield to sign the Crossroads Engineers fee proposal for State Road 252 water main installation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
you need a copy of it, Ryan, or do you have one?
Rob's got the official.
Thank you.
All right, Bob, your Westler pre-treatment program assistance proposal.
We're always asking for something. Professional services, it's been an ongoing theme this evening.
It has.
And that's what this is, because, I had 4 item inspectors in my office at one time. It was somewhat intimidating. And what it kind of boils down to is, over the last 10 or 15 years, they've had questions on how we proceed with new industries, how we keep track of them, because they're under our authority to make sure they don't send any harmful toxins to the wastewater plant. So without everything in place the way it should be, they recommend that we get our act together, basically. Or I get my act together, I guess, since I'm the one in charge now. So I reached out to Westler to ask for assistance. And they came back with a proposal for professional services. And it's described, it was in your packet, what they provide will do for us. A lot of the things, some of the things I do already on my own. And there's some things that I need help doing. Not only just learning, but also doing things the right way. So the service would be billed under, it says, a monthly on a percentage completed basis, and the amount is $28,000. So the $20,000 is if they do the entire thing. As much, the more I do, the less that number will be. So I'm asking for approval for that. And if you have any questions, fire away.
So this is just a one-time fee,
Yes.
and how long is it good for?
It'll be, that's a good question.
This is to help him get through all the new regulations and everything, so it really won't need to be updated really until IDEM comes up with new regulations. We say once new, but for the most part, he can handle a lot of it. So we're just here to help guide him.
And I
And
want,
we're kind of tied with IDEM's requirements.
Yes.
We
yeah, and.
can't go around them, that's.
Yeah, and they will be, and I was ensured that they will be doing another audit. And they're just gonna come in and they're gonna look at the books, the records, and they're gonna wanna see where everything's being done.
So did they leave you a list of things that need to be?
Yes, I have that information, what they wanna see changed in our, reporting and, our activities, how we inspect every industry and every business. We have to keep track of all of that.
And those items reflect what's on this that needs to be.
Yes, yes, they'll help with the surveys, the forms, it's all laid out in the contract.
Linda, to your knowledge, how did we do this in the past? Were we not compliant in the past? Or were we compliant, or is this just a new change that requires
It's
this?
new, changing, and IDEM is getting very, very serious about this, and they are having a lot more audits. And so they want to make sure that basically all your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed. And so they're coming down and hammering on a lot of communities for these things. So we're just gonna kind of help them clean some minor things up.
So this is something, once you get through this, you won't need to do it again.
No. Once we have a system that's in place,
Right.
it's like a recipe book. Once you know exactly what to do
Yeah.
and where to put everything, and then you just follow that every time.
Okay.
So that's what this is for. And they're concerned about what's going into the rivers and waterways. So there's been some issues going on with some of the industries in town that need to be addressed. And this kind of stemmed that whole system. And I'll be talking about that at a later date of what changes need to be made.
Do we have a lot of companies that are not, they're going with regulations? They're doing what they're not supposed to?
No, everybody's doing the best they can or what they think is right. But we gotta make sure that they know what's right. We gotta know what's right. It's just a procedure that we need to have in place.
Kind of had to, as we've grown, I think it's something that we needed to keep better track of. We were stagnant for so long, and now our southern part's taken off, and Bob's kind of inherited some of these problems. But we're trying to deal with some of the veneers and the mills, those problems. And then as the new growth goes into the southern part, we need to know what is being in there. So
In the audit that I received, this stemmed for me to get asked this. It asked for past records. Well, when I went to look for those past records, I found out several times that IDEM was asking for specific things and they was never really given the right answer or the answer that would satisfy them. But for some reason, they never gave us any violations. But now they say, get your act together, you're gonna get violated if you don't do what's right. So you gotta do what they say and follow the rules.
So just need a motion then to, make a motion, you guys okay with it? Make a motion to approve the West Fork Creek Treatment Program Assistance Proposal.
all in favor?
Anything for you to sign?
I'm sure there would just,
Motion for Ryan Pierceville, President, sign the West Fork Creek Treatment Program Assistance Proposal.
All in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Linda, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Got other business, so we'll start rocking you.
Yeah, actually, I have tonight.
Wood.
Occasionally we'll come across a customer that maybe has been billed improperly, either overbilled or underbilled, and we don't really have guidelines on how far back we can go. Do we go back a month, do we go back 5 months or whatever? So I would like for, at our customer guidelines, and so I would like to have Dustin draft a policy to adopt that gives us a guideline on how to approach when we find those. I want to do some internal auditing of some bills,
Are you talking about payables and not payroll?
utility bills.
Utility.
Utility.
Water,
Yes.
wastewater.
Water, wastewater, and electric, just to make sure, if you remember a few months back, there were some electric bills that had some
And water.
issues with them, and some water, and I came across a wastewater one, so it's like, we need some guidelines that just says, yeah, we can go back this far or whatever. So just need to like for Dustin to,
Yeah, drafting that, and I think we need to figure out a way that the balancing of if there's an excess of water that shouldn't, or there's not a clear cut, how do you handle that? I don't like that. It seems like we've done things different.
I'd like to know that if this happens, then this is what you do.
We need to draft a guideline, a standard operating procedure for everything that we can possibly think of that would come across that front office. So I think it'd be in our best interest to let Dustin draft that proposal, those documents, so we could have something in black and white for them to follow. We've talked about that pretty extensively, Rhonda and I, Mary, and it's hard for them not to say one way or the other when they don't have anything
Right.
solid to stand on, so.
Do you need a motion for that, Dustin?
No, I can draft it,
Okay.
let you guys.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next one, I got two tonight. Dustin, Bob, and I met earlier today with Baker Tilly, because with the sewer line project, we're gonna have to do a temporary loan from rainy day to sewer, but during that conversation, we talked to Baker Tilly about preparing a scope of work for an analysis of the rates and charges for the wastewater and stormwater. So I would like for your approval to allow Baker Tilly to provide a scope of work to look into that. Do they need to do a motion or anything, or just?
I would on that one, if they can proceed.
Motion for Rhonda to allow Baker Tilly to, look into the scope of,
Yeah, the scope of work on, scope for the analysis of the rates and charges.
so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And that's it.
All right.
That's enough for me.
Everything, Mike? Glad to see you made it home safe.
Yeah, I apologize for not being here, but
That's okay. Yes.
the meeting.
You're here, that's the main thing. You're
I
safe
made it
here.
there, yeah, for sure.
Jerry, anything else?
It was a wonderful 4th of July celebration. If anybody missed it, you should have been there. It was a great day. And I appreciate Park and Rec for all their hard work to make that happen.
Same here. It was a fun night, good night, so,
Big crowd.
yeah, huge crowd. So that's all I have.
I don't have anything. Dustin? Chief Little?
So we did an active shooter training Saturday at the high school. We got a little bit of news media attention from Rafael Sanchez, who come through there. Offered to let him go through, but he said he didn't want to get shot. So it was a good time. He brought up a lot of good information that I think will get a good positive spin. And Edinburgh Fire came out to actually go through with us. John Henderson brought the crew over. We talked about in the event that we have something like that, how does the police and fire work hand in hand in tandem to get a little bit better at it. A couple of their firefighter EMTs went through the actual scenario, got to see it. So we hope to do a follow-up here soon to talk about, what their role is and to tighten things up. It's something that's a hot topic that's actually going through all of the 911 boards and the supervisors all the way through the county. So it was a good time. Other than that, July 4th went off without a bang, or with a bang, I guess.
A good night.
It was a good time. It was a good time. I think that was probably the busiest July 4th
Oh, yeah.
that I can think of, at least in this area. I mean, when we were on the other end, you got to see, but that was because it was such a condensed area, and traffic at that location works well for us. I mean,
Yeah,
we
that's
still have a lot of problems because everybody walks and golf carts. So it was a good time. That's it.
Thank you, Chief. Julie, anything else?
Yes, sir, I do. As Jason mentioned earlier, we have Darren Dreyer from MA Metal here tonight, and council will entertain him.
Yes.
You have packets at your seats tonight regarding a tax abatement that they would like to discuss with council. You approach the podium.
Sure. Council members, good evening. My name is Darren Dreyer. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for MA Metal, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this request for financial incentive that's been provided to you. MA Metal has been producing metal parts in Edinburgh since 1946. They have, over that time, accumulated an illustrious group of clients to include Cummins, Allison Transmissions, Caterpillar, and many others. However, over that time, a lot of their growth has been pretty static. It's been pretty much the same size, same type of business. Pretty much small components that you can hold in your hand. Well, one of the things that there are a lot of bad things that came out of the pandemic, obviously. But there's also been a little shift in manufacturing. It identified that touch labor in this country has diminished. It's also identified that outsourcing everything out of your country to where you can't build it on your own is not a very good idea. And therefore, there's been a push from major manufacturers to try and insource mitigate. I was hired earlier this year to come in and focus only on MA Metal, to work to grow MA Metal. Beyond what we're talking about in this abatement, our plan is to grow that company 3 to 5 times in a decade, all right? So how do you grow something 3 to 5 times in a decade? Well, you got to do something different than what you're already doing if you haven't grown over the past 2, right? So what we're looking at accomplishing here is looking at new lines of business, and we've truly identified them. You can take small parts and ship them anywhere in the world. The larger parts that need more value, that need more people who can build larger assemblies, is better to be done closer to home. You don't have to pay for it to ship it, right? So what we're looking to do is expand into larger fabrication, to grow into what size of components and the complexity that these components can bring. That's where you bring value. So our effort is to re-outfit roughly 11,000 square foot of the 50,000 square foot facility to add at least 8 more large welding bays for large equipment manufacturing. This would be in the sectors of work truck bodies, aerospace, agriculture. To do that, you have to shift your thought and also your tooling. You need something to move large bodies around. So we'll have to invest in material moving equipment. And beyond that, another important thing that you have to do if you enter this realm or business segment is you need to be able to finish the component. To build something large and ship it out to be painted and finished, to then ship it back can actually result in damage and you don't bring the value to the client. So the major elements that we're doing is to position ourselves to bring that value. I'm actually meeting with a company later this week that we are trying to align with. That'll be the first step. And that would give us the opportunity to grow the company revenue by 50%, resulting in 17 new jobs. We're only 40 people now. So we'll be increasing the size of the company in terms of employees by 40% at an average wage of about $29 an hour, which is significantly over the minimum that you'd expect. And if you would help us with our, any support you could give us in realizing that real property investment of $737,000 and personal property investment of $1.275 million. That's what we're wanting to invest in that company right now to grow it. If you could help us with that, we'd very much appreciate
You're looking to be a turnkey in some sense from
Yes.
the founding, the building of the equipment. to
Yes, in
fund
fact, we're looking to sign agreements to take on, one of the things that's great about Edinburgh, or this area in general, is that within 500 miles of here, you serve 33% of the nation's population, at least, right? Maybe 60%. It's growing up, it's constantly growing. Well, companies that work up in, say, the Northeast have a hard time sending their product down. So our opportunity is to build here and distribute from the center of the country, where you really have that center of agriculture and that center of work and manufacturing. So if we could do that, if we could set ourselves up, then we can start to sign agreements with other companies to build here and then distribute, and it's much more cost effective for them to build where they are.
Absolutely. Well, I think this council, and even the previous council, has always been very positive for growth of any, the economic growth of the community and employing more of our residents and putting that money back into our community. So I know this came in kind of late, and I apologize, I gave Julie a little bit of bad information. This actually has to be an agenda item, but I think it'll be a staff favorable recommendation if it's not already. So at the next council meeting, I don't really foresee any reason why it wouldn't be, but we would like to share this. If you guys feel different, please speak up. But I don't see why we wouldn't support any business growth in this town. Unfortunately, it wasn't on the agenda tonight. I gave bad advice, but I am glad that you came and.
Well, I can be back for the next one as well, in case there's any questions.
Absolutely. It's always good for us when we get to see the businesses that are here for the tax abatement. A lot of times they don't show up, but it's good to see that face and understand what we're trying to help facilitate.
Well, if you're gonna assist us, it's worth coming up here
I think so.
and asking for support.
Well, thank you for coming in tonight. We really appreciate it. We look forward to keeping the partnership with you guys in the community.
And we look forward to growing many times.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Julie?
I just wanted to let council know that D.R. Horton is moving forward and will be on planning commission this month. So
Great.
I wanted to let you know that.
Fantastic. We're getting to the end of that, aren't we?
I think we're just kind of getting started.
I want to say we're getting to the end of all that stuff, but no, the beginning of the other. So, great. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Stephen, you got anything?
I'm good this week.
Bill, what else?
I'm good.
All right. Bob, anything?
Nothing else, thank you.
Robert?
Probably don't have
Nothing?
Going to pass.
All right. Sarah Beth?
A couple of things. We did get one appraisal back on the proposed plaza space downtown. We're waiting on the second appraisal. So I know Daniel has that. He'll be forwarding that to Ryan and Dustin this week. I want to thank the electric department and the water department for helping us out with the Firecracker Festival. That's how we're able to do those things, is to have the resources that we need there. We did have 3 vendors sell out completely of their products, and that does not include the beer garden that also sold out that evening. And I want to thank our 2 sponsors, which was Bobolink Liquor Outlet and Hostin & Hostin. So I said, if you get too crazy with the first sponsor, you might need the second sponsor. So we really appreciate both of them helping us out on that. We do have Christmas in July fundraiser coming up, so obviously Rhonda was asking for the additional appropriation for the ice skating rink this winter, and just as a reminder, we will get reimbursed for all that money with the grant from Festival Country. But we have a Christmas in July fundraiser coming up on July 25th at the Hilton Garden. They've been incredible partners with us on that. They've got a wonderful Christmas themed dinner, special dinner that evening. So it's all Christmas trivia, and it's all to benefit the Holiday Lights programming through the Parks Department. And then we did announce this week, we've got all of our fall festival applications that are open, and those are on the website. So if you get anyone that's asking about fall festival, please send them to the website or send them to the community center or the Parks Department. We'll start taking care of those. And I think that's it. Thanks.
All right, we'll open up to public comment. If there is anything, please state your name and your address for the record. Okay, we have already.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
I had something to say. We've been having some problems on the Royal and Foster Drive, and I notified Chief Little about it.
People have been just running through the stop sign, not even trying to stop. And it's an ongoing problem, and I suggest that maybe the town could invest in some mobile cameras or something so they can be able to put a stop to this.
Is it
Safety.
which stop
It's
sign?
the stop sign as you're going towards Bobolink.
Oh, at the corner.
We've done some extra patrols and some enforcement, but obviously that's one location of many.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a rough one. I'm sure that we can both agree that a lot of traffic that comes out of Bobolink has got a little liquid courage going. And we've tried some enforcement there. Every time that he's called me, we do extra patrol there. I'm not sure that we have a camera that we can put up there, but we can try to look into something.
And one other thing, I've been communicating with Robert, 512 Memorial. There was a big tree cut down to the yard, and there's a lot of wood that's been left there. It's been there for over 2 months. And the health department's been notified. Robert, I think, sent him a couple letters, and nothing's been done with it. And it's an eyesore, and it's attracting bugs and rodents.
Robert, have you sent that on up? You've notified the homeowner?
Yes,
Okay.
and the last I heard was they had someone who was gonna come and take it all away, but that person was then redirected to some of the wind damage and storm damage that was done in Columbus. This week is what I've been promised that they would be returning to get started or take care of it. They had to find someone with a portable crane that was gonna put it on a truck and take it away. They found someone, but they are now beyond the time frame in which we could act on it as the town, but I'm giving them a little more time to make sure that, or to give them a chance to do it, as long as they stay in communication. If not, we'll figure out something else.
Could this be something that we could, like the long grass that's not maintained, could we take care of this ourselves and add the bill back into?
Because it wasn't growing, I put it in the trash, section that has, we have the, ordinance to clean it up ourselves, and it's in that. We're into the point now where we could act, but trying to give them, every chance that they ask for while they're still communicating.
Well, we'll give them this week, and if not, then we'll handle it in-house and get it taken care of.
And they've also made some comments, like they put up a no trespassing sign, and they told the neighbor Wanda that if he came on their property, that they were going to shoot him, so that's another.
That's a right.
To shoot him?
Can't be on their property.
Well,
No.
we can't go anybody.
I will look into that. I already jotted it down. I'll look into the address and see if I
So I
can.
just wanted, if anybody goes from the town, just want to be careful.
We'll go with the police officer.
Absolutely.
So, and Robert, if you go back over there, contact Chief Little, please.
Okay.
All right. We were already done now, so
So
thank you
we're
all, for attending. Appreciate it.
Yeah, signatures. Good evening. Yeah, that's big word.